Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really zeroing in on safety in the machine shop.
Yeah, specifically looking at Okuma OSP CNC machines and these blockout procedures they have.
Exactly. We've got this document here. It outlines the protocols for, well, several of their control panels, right? The E100, P100, P200L, and P300.
That's right. And this is, pretty essential stuff if you're interacting with these machines for maintenance or setup or anything like that. Powerful machines.
Definitely. So our mission really is to make these procedures super clear, help you understand how to work safely, prevent injuries. That's the goal.
And the document details 3 main ways to do this. The full machines block out, then a more specific only turret and axis block out, and also how to jog things with the door open.
Okay, let's get into it. Starting with the big one, the full machines block out procedure. This sounds like the most comprehensive option.
It is. This one blocks pretty much everything. The turret can't turn, axes won't jog, spindle won't jog, and crucially, the chucks won't open or close either. It's a full stop.
Total immobilization.
Exactly. And what's really important here is that Okuma requests this procedure. They say use it anytime an operator might get hurt if the machine suddenly started up.
That's a strong recommendation.
Yeah.
So they're saying don't take chances if you're in a vulnerable position.
Precisely. And they give concrete examples, which is helpful.
Like when?
Well, like changing or adjusting chuck jaws.
Yeah.
Or shimming them.
Right. Tasks where your hands are definitely in the working zone.
Yeah. Or if you need to reach inside the machine for any reason, maybe to, check the part or something. Full block out.
Okay.
And also changing toolbars or inserts, same deal. Any potential for unexpected movement, use this.
Got it. So how do you actually do it? What are the steps?
Okay, step 1. Make sure that door interlock key is in the I position. We can probably assume I means interlocked or in.
Okay.
And then, crucially, you remove the key. Take it right out.
So physically removing it prevents someone else from just turning it back on easily.
Exactly. It's a physical lockout element. Step 2, stop the chip conveyor.
And the document notes that the main machine lock doesn't stop the conveyor, right? So that's separate.
Correct. You have to stop that manually. Then, step 3, this is key. You press the machine lock key and the interlock key, the one labeled IL, at the same time.
Simultaneously. Okay. We have a picture of the panel so you can see those buttons.
Right. And when you do that, the interlock light should come on. That's your confirmation.
Light on means full blockout is active.
Yep. Then step 4, you can open the machine door. And step 5, do your work. Change the jaws, adjust the tool, whatever you need.
Okay, makes sense. Then how do you reverse it?
All right. Once you're finished, make sure that door interlock key is still out and the switch is still an I. Then you press the machine lock and interlock keys together again.
The same combination.
Yes. And this time, the interlock light should go off.
Indicating it's unlocked.
Correct. Then step 7, close the door. And step 8, you're done. Procedure complete.
Okay, pretty clear sequence. But there was a warning mentioned.
Yes. Very important. If you start this procedure after a program is already running,
Okay.
it resets the program completely. You lose your place, have to reposition everything.
So this is strictly for setup and maintenance before you hit cycle start, not for pausing mid-job.
Definitely not for pausing mid-job. Okay. Shall we move to the next one? The partial blockout?
Yes, the only turret and axis blockout procedure. What's the difference here?
Well, the big difference, and there's a huge warning about this in the document.
Okay.
It does not block the spindle or the chucks.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the spindle could still turn and the chuck could still clamp or unclamp.
Exactly. That's the critical distinction. So this procedure is only for tasks where you are absolutely 100% certain that you won't get hurt if the spindle or chucks suddenly activate.
That sounds like it requires some serious judgment from the operator.
It absolutely does. The document stresses that if there's any doubt, any uncertainty at all,
You default to the full blockout we just discussed.
immediately stop, reassess, use the full blockout if needed. Safety first.
Okay, so assuming you've made that careful assessment, what are the steps for this partial one?
They're a bit simpler. Step 1, again, ensure the door interlock key is an I and remove it.
Same starting point.
Yep. Step 2, stop the chip conveyor. Again, separate action.
Right.
Step 3, open the machine door. Now, step 4 is that crucial check. Confirm the task is safe with an active spindle check risk. If you're not sure, stop, ask a supervisor.
Okay, that's the decision point.
Very much so. Step 5, assuming it's safe, perform the task. Step 6, when finished, just make sure the door interlock key is still in I.
Still removed, presumably.
And
Or just ensure the switch is in I. The wording is slightly ambiguous between steps 1 and 6 there, but the key should probably still be out until the door is closed.
Good point. The safe interpretation is definitely keep the key out until the door is shut. So step 7, close the door. Step 8, procedure ends.
So the main difference in activation is you don't press the machine lock and interlock keys together for this one.
Exactly. By skipping that step, you only lock out the turret and axes, leaving the spindle and chucks potentially live.
Got it. Very specific use case then. All right, procedure number 3. Jogging components with the door open. This sounds like something for setup or fine-tuning.
Precisely. It's for when you need controlled movement, jogging the spindle, moving axes slightly, indexing the turret while the door's open, maybe to get a tool just right or check clearance.
Okay, how does this one work? Different key position, I bet.
You got it. Step 1. Put the door interlock key in the O position.
O for open or override, maybe?
Seems likely. It allows the specific limited function with the door open. Step 2, open the door.
Okay.
Step 3, perform the necessary movement. Jog the spindle, nudge the axes, turn the turret carefully. The document mentions changing an insert as an example here.
So controlled, deliberate actions.
Absolutely. Then, step 4, and this is critical, put the door interlock key back in the I position immediately.
Re-engage the normal safety interlock.
As soon as you're done jogging. Then, step 5, close the door. Step 6, start the chip conveyor if you stopped it earlier. And that's it, procedure ends.
And they reiterate that normally that key must be an I, right?
Yes, very clearly. Normal operation always requires the key in I. The O position is strictly for this specific temporary jogging task.
Makes sense. And just to visualize, we mentioned the panel you're looking for, that machine lock key, the interlock light next to the IO key, and that door interlock key switch itself.
Those are your main interaction points for all these safety procedures on these Okuma models.
Right. So wrapping this up then, the key takeaway is that these Okuma machines have very specific, layered safety procedures.
Yes, these blockout functions are designed for different situations, all focused on keeping the operator safe during maintenance or setup. Understanding which one to use and how is just vital.
And the crucial distinction is really between that full blockout, which locks everything, including spindle and chuck,
and the partial one, which specifically doesn't lock the spindle and chucks. That difference is, well, potentially life or death if misunderstood.
Absolutely. If there's any risk, any doubt at all about getting hurt by unexpected movement,
Use the full machine's B-lock out procedure. No question. Don't guess.
it really highlights how important clear, well-defined safety protocols are, doesn't it? Especially with powerful machinery.
It does. Okuma has clearly put thought into this.
It kind of makes you think, how clear and robust are the safety procedures where you work, whether it's a machine shop or somewhere else entirely. Definitely something worth considering.